We talked in the pregame about how difficult it is for you to coach both men and women at the same time, logistically speaking, if not otherwise. But talk about that again.
I don't think it's difficult. I love it.
Do you tell me about that?
Well, it's just it's a lot of fun because you get to just work with more student athletes. I think soccer players are soccer players, and athletes are athletes, whether they're men or women. Maybe the game is maybe a little bit different. Maybe dealing with the teams is a little bit different, but the soccer players are soccer players, and competitors are competitors. So it's just fun being involved, helping a lot of young student athletes achieve to be the best they can be, so it's a lot of fun.
But there are not a lot of guys or women, for that matter, that coach both the women's and men's team.
No, there aren't, but I think it kind of goes in waves. I think it wasn't that way, and then for a few years there were a lot of people doing it, and now there aren't very many coaches that coach both. But soccer coaches are soccer coaches. I don't think it's hard to just say one person is a men's coach, one person is a women's coach. A lot of coaches have coached men or women throughout their careers, and obviously William Jewell's got very strong programs in both with great student athletes on both sides, so it's fun.
You work with the men and the women differently, though? I mean, would you approach a woman differently than you'd approach a man in terms of instruction or whatever?
Really, it just depends on the person and their personality. There are men that you can communicate with different ways, and women you communicate differently. Some of them you need to be very direct. Others, you have to explain things a little bit more. And then there's some other players that will come to you first before you can even address them. They recognize things. So, I think understanding your players is always helps everyone on the team and understand how each other works. I think really good teams understand their teammates really well also. Some players are loud, some players are soft, and some players need a lot of encouragement, some players need very little. And you can see when you have a really strong team dynamic, the players understand each other as well and communicate with each other well. So same thing, coaching.
Jefferson, why soccer? Why aren't you a basketball coach or a tennis coach or whatever?
I always played. I'm really a fan of all sports, but I played soccer and baseball when I was young. My dad actually played soccer and baseball when he was in high school, and so I would just mess around with everything. But I played baseball and soccer very competitively. Played baseball competitively till I was 12, and then a very good club coach said I had to decide if I was going to play for him. I had to decide soccer or nothing.
Give me a scouting report on Jefferson Roblee, the player.
Boy, probably be better if you talk to other people about that. I was pretty.
Shot.
I was, I was competitive, and I was always plugged into what was going on. I think people could tell that I could be a coach even when I was young, just because I was always, if someone, I would know the other team really well. I would remember how we did and how the other teams did, and strengths and weaknesses, and so as a player, I was a decent player. Some people probably tell you I was really good. Some others would probably maybe say not, but I did okay.
You played at the University of Tulsa. You played, I believe, semi-professionally, correct?
No, I did not play semi-professionally. I played in college. I did some MLS Discovery tryouts as a player, which those were a lot of fun. That was back when I was really playing. Professional soccer outdoor really almost didn't exist. The only professional outdoor soccer that existed was really kind of semi-pro. It was on both coasts, and indoor soccer was actually just almost dying down a little bit, and then MLS was growing. So I was just at the age where when Major League Soccer started and they had discovery tryouts, I did that for 2 years in a row, but I didn't. I actually got some nice letters saying we need to stay in touch just in case if we have a reserve squad type thing, but that's as far as it went.
Twin brother Lincoln is the coach at Benedictine, and what were you guys like together as kids?
Again, probably something that maybe you talk to my mom or sister about, or but yeah, we were pretty much always together.
Competitive against each other, or did you work together?
No, all with each other. We were very, very competitive. If we were to play 2-on-2 in soccer or basketball, whatever it was, which we were not good basketball players, we always liked, playing with each other than against each other. Really don't like playing against each other at all. But when we played with each other, and I'll say it when we had the Littells here, or I'll say, that there'll be sibling strength. Lincoln and I had really good sibling strength when we play with each other. We could, anticipate, work really hard for each other, and we could pass the ball to each other. And people would say that they need to get us on opposite sides of the field, or else we just pass to each other all the time. But I think brothers and sisters, when you have sisters or brothers play with each other, it kind of happens.
You were an assistant here, I think, for 5 years before you took over as head coach. Now in your second year. To me, my opinion, it was very seamless, the transition. Was it as easy as you made it look?
I think the players were great with me, and since I've been here for 5 years, I had known all the players and recruited all the players, and when Coach Sissel left, I mean, they were totally cool with him, and they loved him, and it was just one of those things where the situation probably was just the best thing, and it just made things, it seemed easy. So I'm not going to say, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was, if you're going to take over a head coaching job, that would be the perfect scenario where you know all the players and staff, and the history and tradition and the pride that we have in the program was already there. So,
what about building for the future? What's kind of your dream for the future going forward?
Well, we last year was our first year in the GLVC, and we really did treat it a little bit like it's going to be the preseason for this year. And now that we've had success this year, we're going to have to maintain that and then strive to be even better so we can be consistent. And that is not easy to do in such a competitive conference. We have to be able to build our team to be competitive against the teams in the GLVC and the style that they play. So now we have to continue to build on the style that we have, which really did not change a whole lot from when we were NAIA. We have very successful programs there, but there are some adjustments from Division II that we need to make sure that we're ready for and able to then be among the best consistently in the GLVC and the Division II nationally as well.
Consistency is kind of what you're looking for?
Well, we're going to have to do that. It's not going to be, no one's going to say William Jewell wins just because they're William Jewell. And I think we have to recognize that. I think this year we had to prove ourselves to a lot of teams, and a lot of teams were saying, wow, William Jewell's better this year. I mean, that was, and so we have to keep having them believe that, and we have to keep improving every single year. It's not just, well, William Jewell's got an off year. It's that William Jewell's even better this year than they were the year before. So we've got dedicated student athletes, and we don't ever just rest and settle on being okay. We want to be the best we can be.
Finally, I won't ask you to rank these in a particular order, but over the last 7 years, what are some of your better memories of the program and things you've done, places you've been?
Well, I mean, 2006, my first year here, the men went to the Final Four. We had a perfect 9-0 record in the conference. The only team to ever do that when the Heart of America Conference had 10 teams. We're the only team to go a perfect 9-0-0 on the men's side. And so that was we took a lot of pride in that, and then went to the Final Four. That was great. We actually ended the season number 1 in the nation in the Massey rankings, computer rankings. That was fun. And just having that experience, great group of players. The following year in 2007, the men were ranked number 1 in the country for 2 weeks. The women then went to the Sweet 16, went back to Daytona Beach where the men were at the year before. And then in 2010, both the men and women made the national tournament. Men making it to the Final Four, women making it to the Elite Eight. But even the years in between, having some great players and great teams and great rivalries, really, I mean, I could literally list 100 things that have been great. We've had great spring games. We've had great preseason games. We've had great practices. We've had great moments. Having players who come in as a freshman, you're not sure how it's going to work out, and then when they're seniors, they're just kid dynamite. Awesome. Obviously, building relationships with student athletes is big. But been around some very good coaches, that I've coached with and obviously coached against, and played against some good programs that have forced you to be a better coach. So it's a lot of fun.
Come to decide that the things that I tried were in my life just to get high on. When I